Good evening, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is the stock market analysis today. Today is Tuesday, May 6, 2014. The Dow was down 129.55 points today, so we had a pretty good sell-off, and it closed 1 point off the low. So it's now down below the 10 again for the first time since the 25th. So that was 2, 4, 6, 7. So this is the first close below the 10 in the last 7 days. 2, 4, 6, 7 days. Yes. Now, last time we got that, we didn't get any follow through, so that's going to be interesting. I think because we got this break of this trend line, and now we came back down and we didn't rally off of this reversal that we had yesterday afternoon, I think this looks pretty negative to me. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Similar type action in here. And again, we've got this wedge, same thing I just showed you on the Dow. I think this is starting to look like it wants to play out. The Nasdaq closed below the low of yesterday, so we had the big reversal, no upward move, came right back to the neck to that trend line, and then we sold off all day today and closed below yesterday's low. We've got this line in here, this trend line in here, and I just got a feeling it's going to break it. And we're going to at least test this 233-day moving average. We take a look at the, where's New York Composite? New York Composite, now it didn't sell off nearly to the degree that the Dow and the S&P, I mean, it was down today and down 61 points, but it didn't close below yesterday's low, but it's right at this trend line again. So you can see that they're all right at the trend line. The next one we'll look at is the Russell 2000. And it is right at the trend line. And this is a pretty dramatic close in terms of sell-off below yesterday's low. And again, what is the low on this? 1108, or closed 1108.01, and that was the low today. So we're right there, right on the low. Now, I put this dotted line in here because we've got this low point over here that based on a broadening triangle type top, if this is taken out, the top is considered to be in. Okay, now typically you might get some further move past this top. Maybe it'll come down to this trend line. I'll extend it. Yeah, I can just do that right now. You can extend this out just like this thing up here, if I can grab it. Okay. All right, so it may come right on down to this trend line and then can get a reaction back up. But first, you know, I mean, you get a move down here. It's a pretty healthy move. And the other thing that's going to happen is this trend line here, extend it right. Well, that's interesting that we're getting this kind of a juncture in here. This is the trend line from the bottom of March 2009. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, that's the trend line. So that's what we're talking about coming on down, and we break that trend line, and I think we're in for some corrective action. So I would say that the entire rally is going to be in jeopardy and pretty much finished. I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, we got a ways to go before we see that kind of action. I mean, who knows? I mean, it all depends on how fast it does it, but let's just take 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time. All right. So we talked about the Russell. Let's go to the short-term trading index. Take a look at some of our indicators in here. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Smack dab in the middle. Just not doing anything. I mean, again, the 10-day moving average is just hanging right in the neutral zone. The VIX came up a little bit today. There it is. It closed above the 10, but again, you know, we're not getting a whole lot of action. We didn't get any, we're not getting any divergence in here. I think I talked about that. We are getting it on the DI minus, which is the red line. The red line did not go to a lower low with this move in here, so 1 out of 2 of these is showing a little bit of divergence, but again, no major signal there as far as I can tell. The high-low on the net new highs and new lows. we're still hanging in this congestion. You can just see we're just sideways. We're not breaking out one way or the other yet. Okay, let's take a look at some of these key ETFs. These semiconductors first. These are, you can see they've gone sideways here after this big drop, big pullback, and we're hitting the support line, and now we've gone sideways. And you know, the real test is, does this support hold, or do we rally back up to the upside? Right now it's you know, the way the market's acting, this thing is going to, you know, break that line. The home builders, everybody was talking, some guy came out, I can't remember who it was, and saying, hey, sell the home builders, sell the XHB, you know, this ETF. Well, yeah, it's in a downtrend now. I mean, so yesterday he's saying do that. Okay, well, okay, but you know, now this is a trend line in here, pretty horizontal. We get the break, and you can see the big move we had today. We get the break of this, yeah, it's probably going to put in a pretty good move. Let's see where the potential support probably. I mean, there's various little support points in here. If it breaks, you know, maybe in here, maybe down to here. But I would have to guess that would probably be down into this area. Okay, so that's it on that one. And then the financials. Okay, this is breaking the trend line. And so this is a little bit of a foreboding, I guess you would call it, or foreshadowing of what's to come maybe with the rest of the stock market indices. And this is why I'm still in my Goldman Sachs puts, because this is starting to break down. So, and then this trend line in here is going to be interesting to see if it holds or what does it do. So, and let's see, the next thing we've got, so that's it on that. All right, the next thing we want to look at tonight, we're going to look at the minerals and mining type stocks, and so I'm throwing Caterpillar in there because Cat's a big mining company in terms of the equipment that they produce, you know, construction equipment and mining. And we're going to talk about Freeport-Mcmoran. We'll talk about Mosaic, which is again kind of a mineral-based type thing, and I don't know if I am hearing a lawnmower on the outside mowing the next door neighbor's lawn. I will try to get rid of that in my editing. If not, I apologize. So, all right. And then Newmont Mining, Silver Wheaton, and U.S. Steel. So let's go ahead and jump into with Caterpillar. All right. Cat has had a nice move up into here, but we are getting divergences on all of the indicators in here. Okay. All three of these indicators. And so now that we've got the close below the 10, I'm looking for a sell trade idea on this. And I'll have the details on the Trade Ideas webpage, but I'm looking tomorrow morning, if it hits my entry point, to buy puts on this. Now, you know, you sit back and say, well, why are you doing that? You've got the 55 above the 233, you've got the 21 above, you got the 10 above that. So they're all aligned. Well, we've reached a point, I think, that at least you're going to get a fairly decent little pullback into here. Maybe something similar to what you got over here. And it could be, based on what the market's doing, it could be time for Caterpillar to turn. So that's why I'm going to take that opportunity, and I'm doing it because I've got all three of these indicators aligned. And if you look at, let's just take a look at the relative strength. Relative strength is one of my favorite indicators. Okay, so you can see the dramatic divergence that's happening in here, and you got that the last time before this big sell-off. Now you got a little bit of it here, but not as dramatic because these 2 points, both of these points weren't above 70. They weren't in the overbought area. Okay, like these two were in the overbought and these two are in the overbought area. And so when you get that divergence up above the 70, it's stronger than when you've got it mostly below the 70. So anyway, that's what we're doing on Caterpillar. The next one is Freeport-Mcmoran. And Freeport-Mcmoran sold off today, down 23 cents. We got this close below the prior day low in here, so that's a weakening of this trend action that it was in. And it seems like whenever it does that, even, you know, it'll have a nice little move for a while, and then you get a close below the low. Well, that wasn't the exact top, but it told you that the thing was weakening. Then we got another close below the low too, right back here. So, you know, you're able to get back in. It all depends on what your time frame is and what you're looking to do in terms of trading. You know, really, that's what you've got to take into consideration. So what I'm looking at here is, again, I'm getting divergence here, and it broke the trend line on the RSI. Actually, it's not showing divergence there. It's showing the divergence here on the DI plus, and it's showing divergence on the demand index, okay? And so the combination of two divergences and the RSI breaking a trend line, I'm going to bet that there's a good chance it's going to break this trend line here on this red trend line. So I am looking for an entry slightly below down in here to buy puts, and I'll have the details on the trade ideas page. Actually, they are already out there. Okay, the next one we'll look at is Mosaic. And again, I know Mosaic just had their earnings come out. I think it was this morning, and it was disappointing. And so you got the sell-off here today. But honestly, I really don't know what's going on with Mosaic, other than the fact that it's going sideways. You know, after that huge move, these big moves in here, this huge gap, and this thing started to rally, thought maybe we're going to close the gap back in here, and then we've just, you know, zigzagged sideways. So hopefully, you know, it'll start to give some kind of indication as to what it want, you know, what's the play on that. But I'm not seeing it right now. It could be something. I'm just not seeing it. So Newmont Mining, I thought we had a symmetrical triangle going on in here with Newmont. Let me get rid of this for now. I thought we had a little symmetrical triangle. We got a good breakout. And when you look at this, we had pretty good volume too. Very good volume on that move, on this sequence of moves in here. Okay, so that's typically what you want to see on a symmetrical triangle, and usually 1/2 to 2/3 of the way out on the triangle. Well, now it's pulled back to the triangle, you know, into the triangle, and sometimes it'll do that. So, you know, it could still turn and go here. I just don't have a specific signal on it right now. But that's what I would be watching for to see if this does then try to resume the upward move. Okay, well, I kind of jumped the gun. U.S. Steel, it's in this downward trend line. The 10's below the 21. The place to have gone short is up here when you get the 10 below the 21. But the fact that the 21 was above the 55 made me cautious to do that. And I can talk about that. You know, right here, breaking the low of this 2-day low would have been nice. But the better situation, I spotted one back here. Where was it? Yeah, I can't see it off the top of my head, but when it's better when they're aligned, better aligned than that. So and so there's no specific play I've got here. I just think that right now it's starting to trend down. I wouldn't be surprised if it retests down into here and or gets down to the 233. All right, the last one we'll look at tonight is silver Wheaton, and it's right up here as number 1. Okay, silver Wheaton, we were looking to possibly go long. I thought it was trying to push above the 10. Thought we were trying to, you know, get a rally going in here, but it just didn't want to cooperate. We never got an entry signal. Got close, but we never got an entry signal, which is a good thing because it turned around and sold off. So now we're back down below the 10 in here, and now we've got what looks like a flag or consolidation activity going on, and I'm going to look for an entry tomorrow morning down below here to buy puts. I think it's going to come back down. And I think, again, this is in a big symmetrical triangle, I think. And given that that could be going on, if it breaks this, it's going to go all the way down to here, at least down to the, you know, 18 or whatever that, what is that low? 17 3/4. So anyway, that's what I'm looking for on silver Wheaton. All right, that's it for tonight. Thanks for stopping by. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. You'll get email updates, access to the 5 Essentials PDF guide, and access to the Trade Ideas webpage. So we'd love to have you do that. And, you know, that way you're following beyond the chart and staying in touch with everything that we're doing. And tomorrow I'll be back talking about the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and a little bit more of a blog, maybe a little kind of a blog write-up versus tonight. So have a great Wednesday. This has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Thanks for stopping by.